You've been waiting for this, and so have they since training camp and even before, and now it's here. Bills versus Chiefs, AFC Championship, a chance to go back to another Super Bowl. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to break it down and give you our game plan here on RGR Football. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Red Friday you've been waiting for. We're going to lay it out for you. Everything that needs to happen, how it's going to happen, and what our prediction is. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Welcome to RGR Football. Hope you guys are as excited as we are because this is a big and a long time coming to get to this big game. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't think of any team that I'd rather go against than the Buffalo Bills because of the history that these two teams have. I think it bodes well for the Chiefs, yet it's going to be another come down to the wire fourth quarter game. In my opinion, what's top of the list for you?
It's simple, it's basic, but you got to stay away from third and short if you're the Chiefs defense. This is the culmination of everything that we've seen them kind of struggle with. The Bills offense has taken that same kind of path that the Chiefs had. They go from explosive to changing things up to have to work the ball into the short, into the flats to get those just yards after catch, try to just methodically move the ball down the field. Obviously, the run game with their six offensive linemen has gotten way better. The Chiefs were actually pretty good against it in the first matchup, surprisingly so. So they have some experience there. Their run defense has gotten a little bit worse since then as well, so you have to take that into consideration. But overall, you cannot allow the Bills to get into what the Chiefs want to do on offense either. They both want to get in third and short. So you have to be able to limit those early down rushes and squeeze and clamp down on the 5-yard, the 6-yard ins, the curl routes, things like that. You're going to have to be on your P's and Q's. You actually want to force Josh Allen to throw the ball down the field. You want him to do that because they don't necessarily have the horses to compete with the Chiefs that way. Funny as it sounds, with Jalen Watson back, they match up much better in a slugfest downfield game. So you have to limit a team that honestly wants to kind of take the ball out of Joshua's hands a little bit, not in a bad way because he's going to give it away. Not like that because he's not done that this year. It's more of their offense flow is way better. Running, play action, getting the ball out quickly. We saw in the first matchup, those little flat routes with the blocker in front of them destroyed the Chiefs. It was every single drive. All right, check down to the flat. You get 6-7 yards and you're behind the sticks. Like that's how it was. So you have to be able to limit that and get them into some third and long situations where a Josh Allen run for 3 yards doesn't get him a first down.
Makes a ton of sense to me, and that plays into my biggest one, and that is you got to win the run game on both sides of the ball, meaning you have to limit Cook. They want to use him, just as you said, and he is more explosive this season than he has been in seasons past. He's rounding into shape. Now, you've calculated this. You're Steve Spagnuolo, and you realize I'm going to give up yards as long as they don't come in chunks, and I make them burn time to earn their trip downfield. That still is the opposite true for Andy Reid. He's got to make sure that he doesn't go away from the run too much and that he continues, I think, to have a balance no more than a 2-to-1 ratio between Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. And you have to beat up that Bills front as well. You got to punch him with the run game in order to run your play action more effectively and be able to take your own shots because I think their safeties are going to be susceptible, but it all flows off of that handoff with your back to the defense. That's job, I think, number one, to make sure that everything's flowing. And it comes back to winning in the trenches. It all feeds into the run game on both sides. You got to win.
You know, it's funny you talk about the safeties really quickly because this isn't like a big point for me. But without Taylor Rapp, even with Taylor Rapp, honestly, they don't have a ton of speed in the secondary. Like they are not a fast secondary. They're well coached. They come downhill well. They hit. They tackle. That's what they do well. They don't really go out over the top. And again, this isn't a point, but the Bills' front four can be had, okay, in the run game. They have been very aggressive in taking linebackers and giving more help to the run game because they can be run on a little bit. And what do you think that opens up for the Chiefs offensively, who have kind of been holding things back until Hollywood Brown came back? Their RPO game. That is exactly what the Chiefs want to do. They want to hit a couple runs early and then force those linebackers to overcommit and say, look, you want to come at us in the run game because we're going to still try to establish that. That's awesome because we're going to hit you behind that when a linebacker comes down. And that's, I think, what they want to hit to. So those points all flow with what I think the offense naturally wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same old bait and switch. Pull them down, hit them over the top. Let them do what they want to do, which is come
Yeah,
down and run support. Even the safeties, as you said,
yeah.
want to get in on the run. Okay, fine. Show it to them. Show it to them right over the top. There are more things to this game. We're going to get to the rest of them after we give you what we're going to do with our lineups at Underdog this week.
So, you guys, we all know Underdog is one of our new sponsors. We're very happy to have them on. And if you use the code RGR, you're going to get the initial free pick for all of your pick'ems for those lineups, and then you're going to be able to get up to $1,000 bonus cash. So right now, we're going to go into what we want to do here. Okay, so you guys know we did it last week. I've been doing them a little bit more on my film rooms too, and this is very simple. Higher or lower, you put it in the slip, you press submit, put your money in, boom. And it's that simple. This is one of the easiest things to do. I literally have starting to do this every single day. Like I've gotten to a point now where I'm just like putting in things that I don't even watch very much, like NBA. I've done it a little bit with golf. It's a lot of fun to just kind of see what you think you know about it. But we start off on the top. I know that if you guys are new to this, I've already put mine in for my pick 'em in for the week. So we're going to avoid that because we know we can do that. Josh Allen, right? You have to have one on each side. So you have to have a Chief player, you have to have a Bills player. And since we're focusing on the AFC Championship game, you got to look at that. I don't necessarily always want to go to Josh Allen. There is one down the board that we're going to go to that I am very interested in because it's typically the game plan of the Bills to attack the Chiefs with tight ends. One guy who has been kind of a pain in their side is Dawson Knox. It does not feel like he's being respected enough by some of these numbers and some of these fantasy numbers that we're seeing right here. We have higher at 14.5 receiving yards. We've seen him do that one catch specifically against the Chiefs multiple times, even 1.5 receptions. So either one of these, I have no problem taking the higher on for this. And I'm probably going to go with the receiving yards number. I think that this is the one that he hits one big chunk play that he typically does. I like both of the quote unquote number 2 tight ends in this game for higher on some of their numbers because you could do the same thing for Noah Gray, which I think if you would have just watched the very first game, that pick that Patrick Mahomes threw, that would have gotten higher on his receiving yards number for the day already on that one. So that's just something to look at. But we've now gotten word, this is another one. This is an easy one. Kareem Hunt is the goal line back and short yardage back. I'm just going to continue to hit higher until it doesn't work. And it just is always going to. And you want to see the number down here, 1.28 times. That means they don't respect him as the goal line back for Kansas City. So that's going to give you better multiplier numbers on your on what you put in. And then we're going to hit with, again, if we're thinking about this with combining it with the free pick that you get on your pick 'em for Patrick Mahomes. So that's 4 we're going to have total. And we want Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, I don't know if you guys heard his quote today, but he's feeling a little disrespected by the Bills who traded back, didn't want Xavier. So he was playing a little bit with a chip on his shoulder. This, for me, feels I want to get just the total receiving yards because I believe not only are we going to see, again, a game plan where he's going to have some yards after catch, I think he's going to have a big play against the secondary, specifically when you see DeMar Hamlin lined up over him as a shade, double move. I think you can get him in those moves specifically. So if we, again, combine this with what we know is a Patrick Mahomes free pick, you have 4 total picks with that multiplier, right? So we have Dawson Knox higher, 14.5 receiving yards. Kareem Hunt higher than a half of a touchdown receiving or rushing, which is always fun to see. And Xavier Worthy at higher than 48.5 receiving yards. And remember to use the code RGR at sign up to get that free pick as well as the bonus cash up to $1,000.
I like where you're going. I think that's going to work out really well. Number 2 for you, what becomes the next priority?
It's very simple. They have to have some explosions. This is the offense that we have seen for Patrick Mahomes where it's been very dink and dunk. That's what they do. They run the ball here, they get the ball out quickly. And I believe that the Bills are going to try to force Patrick Mahomes to do a lot of the same that I talked about with Josh Allen. Force him to hold the ball and look for that second or third target. They have to be able to generate explosives down the field. They tried to against the Texans a couple of times. They almost hit the wheel route to Hollywood Brown in the end zone. He nearly had a catch on left-hand sideline. And again, we have not seen Xavier Worthy targeted down the field since, I believe, this football game, if I am not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. He has been working on his sideline awareness, out routes, out routes, out routes, timing. All of that has been in work since that game. Hollywood Brown, again, coming back. If you think that they can, they really have to live in two high safety. They almost have to, because they don't have anybody that can really be a single high, especially with Taylor Rapp out. So if you put 3 guys on one side and 1 on the other, you can probably get some of these safeties, a rookie fighting on something underneath, and then you hit them over the top. So you can generate, I believe you can generate explosives against this defense. And I think it can be had with a couple play action shot plays, especially if you can create some of that run game where you get that play action and then you get those safeties and linebackers getting downhill. It wouldn't shock me if a glance route from Marquise Hollywood Brown goes for like a 60-yard touchdown in this football game. Just something quick. So explosives to complement what you already know you want to do.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. In order to get that done, you have to make sure that you manage and protect your turnovers. You got to win the turnover battle. If you give it up, and let's say it does happen, you have to make sure that the defense is able to compensate, or you're able to get something back. You have to win the turnover battle. And to do that, you have to protect Mahomes. Andy Reid saying that it could be, quote unquote, that it ends up the same as we've seen with Joe Thuney at left tackle. That was his comment today. Now, he's being real coy about it, so I don't know if that's 100% because he says they are still rotating. And, Andy's been known to wink in the camera when he says some of these things. So we got to take it with a grain of salt. But protect so that Patrick can be Patrick. Roll the pocket a little bit. Do whatever you have to do to protect the fact that you don't put the ball in harm's way. It's been a great streak. They can continue it, and they need to make sure that they get this win. I'm feeling pretty confident that they're going to be able to move the ball, target the guys that they want without putting it in jeopardy, so long as they understand the concepts of getting it out quick, understanding where your first read is, much like they have the last few weeks. So with all that said and done, that's our plan, Dan. What actually happens in your mind?
Yeah, guys, this has been something I've gone back and forth on all week. As you guys know, I used to work with the Cover One guys, and I've gotten a little bit of information from them, what they think about their own defense, and it leaves me far more confident about the Chiefs being able to score. Travis Kelce has said it in his podcast this week. It's important to not peak early. The Chiefs didn't play their best football last week. They didn't have to. You have to play your best football in this game. This is different. It's a different offense. They are built to do a lot of the same things that the Chiefs do. I think that plays well into their hands. I think it's going to be a very close game, as these always are. I do believe that the Chiefs are going to be victorious in this football game. I think it's going to be a 27-24 football game where the Chiefs win by 3 points on a last-minute field goal. They get the ball back, and then they win.
Okay. Getting the ball back, that's key. I kind of think that comes down to it for me as well. Last possession game. I will say this, you're not going to be able to stop Josh Allen. I do think he will scramble. He will hurt you. He will probably score with his legs.
Yeah.
I can live with that as long as they're not getting the chunks down the field, as long as they're matching up. You can get a little bit out of Cooper. You can get a little bit out of Coleman. You can withstand a little bit of Samuel. You just can't have that grind with Allen connecting to anybody he wants, whenever he wants, and the James Cook aspect. So it comes down to what you get with Trent McDuffie. Jalen Watson is free and clear, practiced all week, though he is on the injury report. Got to watch out for that. It comes down to contained and controlled pressure. George went off last week. The whole team got plenty of pressure. You can't play with quite so much abandon this week because you got to keep him a little bit reined in. I think they have a couple. And I will say this. I wish I had one on me because I don't carry him anymore. It comes down to dime for me, where the dime alignments are, where Jaden Hicks lines up, as well as Chamari Connor and how they attack it. I think the Chiefs work it out. They might even go down. I'm going to say 7. I'm not going to say 10. I'd be really confident if they went down 10, but I think they go down 7 and they do have to come back in the end. I think it is much more of a push, a little bit higher scoring. I have the Chiefs winning 28-27 going away, and they have to come back to do it, but we're all comfortable with that at this point, right?
That's what they do. That's what we've seen. 16-0 in the last 16 short or one possession games. Chiefs win those games. So I don't know, hey guys. I'm very excited about this game. Obviously, nerves throughout the entire week. Like they start building up now. It's still got 2 days until the game day. But I had to break out the nice jacket for the game plan for you guys because this is this is it. You got to pull out all the stops, much like the Chiefs. I'm going to do the same thing on my own. We're going to use the Chiefs Cup, and for coffee the next couple of days, we're just going to start using everything we got at home for some nice home cooking here too.
It's going to work out great. What do you guys think is going to happen? Put your predictions down here in the comments on YouTube. Hit us on X or wherever you like. Might have something extra for you here on the run up, and we are going to be live post game. Do not worry. Finish the game with us. We will be there for you. I hope that you guys are excited. I know Dan is. I know I am, and I'm sure Avery is as well. So, Dan, thank you for the time and your prognostication. I hope I'm right, but as long as one of us is right, we're going to be okay.
That's all that matters.
All right. Have a great weekend, folks, and enjoy this ball game.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.